Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando. Hello everyone, and welcome to Dice Commando and the Commando Cast. I'm Andrew with you here as always, here today with Tunewalker and Jrak. We are here talking about their effort for the infinite rebalance. There's kind of a point balance. They're playing around with some other stuff. They're really trying to reinvigorate the infinite format as it stands today. So we're here to talk to them about that effort. Hello everyone, thanks for joining us again today. How are you gentlemen doing?
Doing great.
We're doing fine, thanks.
Doing really good.
Yourself?
Yeah, well, glad to have you here. So let's go ahead and start with you, Jrak. Who are you? How long have you been in Destiny? Kind of give us your quick background and basically who are you and why should we care?
Sure. So I'm Jrak or Drakman. My name's actually Jack. I've been playing Destiny for close to 2 years now. I never went to competitive, but I've started my own local here in our city. Why should you care about what I think? We've been playing around in Infinite for a heck of a long time. When tournament play went on to Standard, we stuck in Infinite. So we quite like all the characters, and that's why I agreed to take part in this hologram, because we felt that as we moved into Standard, we lost a heck of a lot of cool characters. So we aimed to fix that.
So your play group went. You guys never went. So when sets 1, 2, and 3 rotated out, you guys never moved on. So you've been on Infinite the whole time.
Yeah. So when it might have been Across the Galaxies dropped, we all came into play. Bought the majority of the old sets, some of the middle ones. But then when the Convergence block dropped, and the three first sets rotated, we didn't move on. We stuck with that. And then any tournaments we've done here have always been Infinite, unless it's like, oh, the theme for this one is we're going to play Standard like everyone else does. But apart from that, we play a lot of Infinite.
Gotcha. And then on the bottom of your screen there, we have Tunewalker. So why don't you, how long you been playing Destiny? Tell us a bit about yourself. Any fun facts you may want to know?
So the funnest fact is I started playing Destiny the day it came out. Like, I've been a huge Star Wars nerd for my whole life, so that's not a surprise for a lot of us, right? But the funnest fact for me was I got started with the game with basically borrowed rares and the like from friends. I'm a huge hero nerd. Anybody who's seen me around knows I play like Luke almost exclusively for a lot of stuff, except at locals when I'm trying to help people out build new decks, and then I'm testing other things for them or working with them to try and make something better for them. But yeah, like my first tournament was literally just a bunch of commons and a bunch of rares, and I took second place with that. And as far as regionals and like that, I've taken top 16 at one regional, second place at our local store championships, and then at LVO I got dropped out on the first round and at 22nd, I think it was. Again, playing Luke almost the entire time, playing Blue Hero like the entire time. It's just a blast for me in that regard. For me, for Infinite, it's been when the first point drop happened, when Convergence first dropped, I didn't want to rotate either. Like, we loved a lot of some of those older characters, and with those point drops already invigorating the format initially, I think I played for like a good 2 months before like going, okay, like then by that point, like Spark of Hope, I think was almost dropping by the time I stopped playing Infinite almost exclusively. And then it didn't feel the same after Spark of Hope. And I really wanted to bring that back a bit, bring that feeling of, hey, these old characters that you remembered but don't quite fit anymore into the new meta, they can still breathe. They can still be there.
So how did you two get linked up? Because I mean, it doesn't sound to me like you live down the street from each other, but
no.
So I'm UK.
Yeah.
And he's America.
I know. I was just joking. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying off the cast. Sorry.
Right. The funny thing is how we ended up like connecting was honestly, I think it came down to chats in A Renewed Hope. Like I was very adamant from the word go once that community was started that I didn't want to just forget the old cards and just making new ones. Like I love that they're making new cards. I could never do it. I give all the props to those guys for doing the amazing job that they're doing with that. But I didn't want to forget the old ones either, because a lot of us have spent a lot of money on those. A lot of us have spent a lot of time with those. A lot of us love those old characters. So abandoning them outright was just not something I ever wanted to really do. I never wanted to have a format where all I ever played with was fan cards. Even if those fan cards were well produced and always top notch and not really fan cards, but official Destiny like move forward, right? So I made those posts in A Renewed Hope, and basically somebody was like, well, we don't have time to do that. We're not focusing on that. That's not the main thing, because that's not what drives Destiny. And they're not wrong. They're absolutely right. That's not what drives Destiny. New cards is what drives Destiny. But eventually somebody was basically like, well, then just do it yourself. And I went, fine. And at that point in time, Jrak contacted me and went, hey, you're not wrong. Let's work together to do this. And I'm like, hey, any help I can get, good help. And his help has been instrumental. I could not stress enough. His testing group is fantastic in solving like problems that my testing group misses all the freaking time.
So, yeah, I mean, at this point, let's go into talking about kind of your project in detail. I know that informally, and maybe formally, but I know at least that informally in the community, it's known as Jrak and Tunes, or Tune and Jrak's Holocron or project or whatever. So what is the project actually called?
So
yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead, Jrak.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jrak. No, you go ahead.
We never officially came up with a name, mainly because we spent most of our time talking about character changes. A name never really bypassed us, because it was mainly, I don't think we thought it would be on a scale of actually coming on here and talking about it or posting about it in Discord. We sort of thought, yeah, we'll make this holocron for our local sort of thing and see if anyone else wants to use it. So yeah, we just go by Jrak and Tune for the moment.
Yeah, so
might come about.
Yeah, that's also why what we've actually started calling that's why originally I named the Discord that we used the Infinite Playground, because it's really just a playground of a lot of different cards that exist in Infinite, and because the changes are rapid, changes are fast, because we find a problem, of course we're going to fix it like right away. It's kind of a unknown area at the moment. It's a little bit of it's a playground. Come out, play around, see what sticks, see what doesn't, and figure out what the problems are, and then we'll scratch our heads on trying to figure out how to solve it without changing the core concept of the character or creating new abilities. That was a very big factor about what I wanted this thing to be. I don't want to create new abilities. That's new characters. That's new cards. I'm not creating new cards. I'm wanting the old cards to work the way they were intended to work within the boundaries of current Destiny.
Sure. So So, Jrak, you can you kind of explain to people who may not be familiar what you guys speak about changes? So, were you balance the forcing, or are we actually changing text on cards? What is the how do we go about with these changes, quote unquote?
A bit of both. So it sort of comes down to the character's actual abilities. Like I've got our holocron open here. Sometimes it's as simple as a point change. If their ability is like, yeah, that's a super cool ability, we don't need to touch that, that's fine. They're just a little bit overcosted or undercosted. We'll change it. So a great example of that is Sarge Ventress from Spirit of Rebellion. She is way overcosted well in size, but her ability is really hard to touch because it's like discard and then discard another. We can't, we couldn't say discard 2, that'd be crazy. So it's easy to just go, we'll tune it back a few points. Mm-hmm. But then we might add on little abilities. So again, Spirit Rebellion, IG-88, we changed him from a special of play yellow weapon or equipment, because it's cost by 2. We kept that, but then we also added the inspired by Zuckuss or gain a resource. Just make him a bit more, flexible, a bit more playable. Like it's not an 18
You don't have a dead side.
We have his special. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have his special, but we can't take it. But he's 18 points, surely we can always take it, right? Sort of just making them a bit more consistent.
Okay, yeah, I see. I mean, and I've looked through a majority. I know like Akbar, you guys have him at 12 or something like that, right? Or maybe even less than that.
Yeah. He's actually, Akbar is exactly where he was on the Infinite before, 9-12. The only alteration I've made to him is you get to choose where the damage is going instead of your opponent. With Akbar, the specific reason for that, and you can actually see it in the read-only set analysis, is the reason we decided to do that was Akbar is definitely an aggressive supporting character. When you look at his die, he's got a damage side, he's got a 2 focus, he's got a pair of resource sides, and his ability is very specifically damage. While it is related to discards, he's not assisting that discard gold beyond the 1 discard side on his dice. What it really is damage. And you're not really advancing that goal if your opponent's able to throw it on like the 1 character you're not hitting.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean that makes sense. So that's the type of stuff that your guys' project is really focusing in on is
right.
Upping each character, or not each, but upping a number of, like the Asajj, Jrak, you brought up Asajj. I think that's an excellent one to bring up. I mean, she was scary,
15.
but probably unplayable even back in her day. Or maybe not unplayable. People did play her and Dooku together, but it wasn't. It wasn't manageable.
Yeah, I tested that because she's obviously built to go with Quinlan. Couldn't be more built to go with him, but it just don't work. there's not enough discard and enough damage. Yeah, exactly. You pay 15 points for 9 health. Come on. I've been playing around with Ponkrell a lot recently because I hate that he sees no play, right? And he's 15, and he already has 11 health, a much greater ability, and the exact same size, I'm pretty sure. I
think he was 1 point higher. He's 1 point higher. Yeah.
Are they both?
Wait.
Both 15?
No, he's 16, I think.
Ponkrell's 15.
I could be wrong.
Ponkrell's 15, I'm pretty sure.
There goes my villain brain again. I don't play very
well, I was actually going to mention that we have quite a nice dynamic of his local play, as you touched on, mostly hero. We play mostly villain, or at least I only play villain. It's quite nice to go, Palpatine's a bit broken, isn't he? And I can go, no, he's just where he needs to be. It works quite well.
Yeah, I mean, and I do like the iterative aspect that, because I've seen, like, Palpatine, you bring him up. I think you guys have done a good job being iterative with him. Like, one of the first proposals I saw of Palpatine with you guys, I was like, I think that's pretty aggressive. And you guys walked that back pretty quick.
Yeah,
right?
We walked that very quick. Yeah.
It was when I came in and I was talking with my local about it, and someone pointed out, oh, by the way, force jump exists. And it's like, because how we did it before was every time you resolve his character upgrade die, you do 2 indirects. What about the die that come back? Right. What happens then? So every time you just 200. You could make decks around breaking that. So
And we just needed to go.
And I mean, stuff like that's going to happen, guys. But as long as you're willing, you've proven that you are. As long as you're willing to, fall on your sword, slap yourself on the wrist, and fix it. I mean, I think that's what we could use more of in the gaming industry, right? So,
yeah.
All right. So, how about plans? Quick. How about what were you going to say? Go ahead.
I was going to say, you'll also notice that we haven't touched anything from the convergence or later blocks because the idea is to bring up. The idea is to bring up the characters that have rotated out without touching anything that ARH is doing. We trust those guys explicitly, very, very highly with standard. If whatever they choose for standard, we are going to try and reflect with this because we want people to be able to still play those favorite standard decks in Infinite. To us, Infinite is not just the old, but the new too. You can't just give up the new to play the old.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's admirable and worthwhile bringing up. Right, is that under this is not one of the other multiple parallel movements out there to ARH. It's in concert with it, right?
No, we're not rivaling with them. We'd like to work with them on an Infinite.
Yeah.
If they see certain cards that are broken, we'd like to go. Okay, that's good enough. We'll go and fix it, sort of thing.
Yeah, they're obviously not. They haven't endorsed us or anything like that at all.
No.
But this is intended to be something that works alongside them. If this is something you want to try out at your locals, you should be able to feel comfortable doing so with those ARH cards, with everything else. We're not creating new stuff here. We're just fixing around with old characters, and that's why it's also largely characters right now. We have talked about doing a little bit with like individual cards, but we've kind of avoided that for the most part for those exact reasons of like we don't want to like muddy the waters too much. Like there's a specific group for current. We're just trying to make it better for the old stuff too. Like we don't want to forget the cards. We got boxes of this stuff in our house. Like,
sure.
Like I don't. You can't tell me I can't pull it out and play it.
I was just gonna say, to a certain degree, I think I don't want to play a deck where all 30 of my cards has an errata on it, and that I have to remember. Some Infinite stuff is going to be crazy.
Right.
Some is, I think a great example for it is Leadership. That used to be fine. And then that's like new Gunray and Darth Bane and Phasma. Terror have come out. That card's been broken. So that's like an extreme example of we should do something about that. But I don't want to have erratas on every single one of my cards.
Every single card. Oh, heck no.
0.1 busted.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be, I'll say it bluntly, I think that would be borderline suicidal to try and go back and fix.
Right.
I mean, fixing the characters, which are the rock, is one thing. Trying to hit all the moving targets at the same time is bat's not crazy, right? So
that's bat.
Yeah, and I mean, at some point, people just have to accept that they have an unplayable common. Like, not every card needs to be good because then not every card's good. And anyway, you guys know what I'm saying. So, right, next question 100%. I have, kind of to your point, Jrak, actually, which is, I don't want to have to remember the errata. Have you guys talked about, making a, Tune and Jrak version of the cards that you're changing, right? Like if you change Palp, have you thought about making a Palp card that has the new text on it, making that available? Is that something that's on your plate?
I don't think we haven't touched on that. Yeah. Once again, it's been mainly we want to fix the cards before we start to roll out stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead. Go ahead, Jrak. Go ahead. Sorry, I was interrupting.
I was finished.
Oh, okay. So for me, it's like I'm not an artist. I work with numbers like literally all day, like accounting, insurance, freaking numbers all day long. That's what I do. But art is not something that's my strong suit. So like trying to create a card at all, like would I don't know if you guys have seen the format of our holocron. It's kind of like a loosely Google Doc thing thrown together. That's about the extent of my like artistic skill, essentially. So being able to actually make a card with those erratas on it is a bit more difficult. That said, I 100% get the worry of erratas on cards because we have a few on the characters. But the thought process is hopefully being on characters and not on cards. It's easier to remember when it's on a character than it is on a card. Like you,
of course.
Because it's just sitting there on the field the entire time, and it's just
if it's a point balance, you already built the team and you don't need to worry about it, right? So
exactly. So it's only when we have specific erratas, which I think we have on. I think there's not too many of them. I think there's maybe one per set, maybe, and that's about it. So I think there's like 6 sets. So I think we have 6 or 7 errata characters, and that's actually it. And most of them, you can tell what the errata is just by kind of looking at the character. For example, like Awakening's Luke Skywalker, I added a May to the draw card. Like it feels like something that should have always been there, but it's not. So when you activate the character and you have to draw a card, and your opponent's like forces you to do so, and you're like, wait, what? Isn't it a nope? It's not a May.
Not anymore.
Yeah. No, so
sorry.
Yeah, so that's the. So as far as finding actual like print, I would be completely open to it. Like I hadn't thought about it before, but like I am now.
I mean, I guess in my head you could even use the original art and stuff, right? It's just make a edited blurb, or I mean, I don't know. I mean, people can probably do it themselves too if that's something they're interested in. So, because I will tell you, trying to keep your up. I mean, especially if at the rate that you guys are making changes, it's hard enough to keep a document alive, let alone, or a document updated. Excuse me, let alone trying to do images and then update the links, and that in itself is a job. Well, that I mean, technically, FFG used to have people that did, right? So, but we're doing it for free. So,
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, why don't you let the people know if they don't know already where and how to find you guys and how to get involved.
Sure. So we have a Discord. Will that be linked below? Can I ask you off the book?
Yeah, I'll link it, of course. But
okay. Awesome. So we have a Discord, which is linked below. We also have a Holocron, which is a Google Doc currently, which you can find the link below as well. Yeah, anyone's free to come on our Discord and go, we tested the Death Trooper at 9 and he's insane, and we'll go, okay, so we'll take a look at that. We're happy for anyone to come along and go, this is a little bit odd, do you want to have a look into this? Yeah, anyone's open to come and do that 100%.
Yeah, we're 100% open to feedback, and other places you can find us. You can specifically find the our Balance of the Force, I like to call it, rather than a holocron, because our Balance of the Force is intended to be used currently with Dice Commando's remainder of the holocron. We're only replacing his Balance of the Force portion, and the rest of it should be still with Dice Commando's standard infinite holocron. You can also find both of those links. I believe oftentimes I link Echo Base's holocron list.
Yeah.
You can find, I think, both of them there. So if you're having difficulties finding the Google Doc, try to check out Echo Base. They have done an amazing job as well, keeping all of these even fan holocrons like our own on that site. So we're grateful for all the support we've actually received from the community. Honestly, I didn't expect this to take off as much as it did. I thought I dropped the first crazy one and people think you're nuts. We kind of were, but the fact that we've received as much support over like the concept at the very least has been amazing.
Yeah, I think that was a crazy one for me when I woke up and I was reading something from Echo Base and I was just looking around the website and I went to the holocrons and I I was on there and I shot Tune a message like, "Did you know this was on the website?" Because I didn't. I think that's when it was like a proper. Okay, so this is our whole people. Sorry, our balance of the force, and people know about it. That was meant when it just rocks up on that side.
Yeah, well, I think any effort to keep the game alive in whatever form is going to be appreciated, and I think that as long as it's done in a quality manner, that it's always going to be a positive, right? And I mean, to be fair, as long as people are getting fun and enjoyment out of it in some fashion, it's always a positive, right?
Right.
So,
yeah, I think that is the main point, isn't it? That like for a game that has been dead for months, the community is still very active,
much alive, very much alive.
And we've proved that for not just a game that's dead. The set was dead. The set has been dead for, how long has Convergence been out? But somehow people have picked up Balatik and Aura Singh and stuff and started bringing them back to the table.
Yeah, Aura Singh, man, I enjoyed the heck out of her back in the day.
Yeah, she's a fun character.
Ping for 2 money.
Yeah,
perfect.
All right, well, I think that about wraps it up. I'll give you each a shot to kind of put in shout-outs or anything else you want to add. So, Jrak, why don't you take us away? Anything you want to add?
Our local has started a YouTube channel called Holocorn, where we are playing Infinite and documenting all of our games, and then we're going to be starting to move to ARH/Infinite and playing some of that on there. So if you want to come and take a look at some games, that'll be linked below. Okay. I think that's about it from me.
Okay. Well, thanks, man, for joining us today. Tune, you're up, buddy.
Honestly, just keep checking out like what ARH is doing, what Jrak is doing, what Dice Commandos is doing, what Echo Base is doing. These guys keep good track of everything. I don't have anything to plug. It's this right now. The Infinite Playground's just kind of my baby at the moment, and I'm working with Jrak to make it happen. That's all it is.
All right, sounds good. Well, again, I want to encourage people to go out and we're playing a game that small changes and stuff can make a big difference across our various enjoyments, whatever that may be with the various lockdowns that we're in right now. But so stuff like this we love to encourage. So I wanted to thank you both not only for doing it, but for coming on and helping us spread the word. So
thank you
with that said, thank you everyone for joining us today. Thanks again to Tune and Jrak, and if nothing else, guys, go Commando. Say it.
Go Commando.